This is a really powerful framework for telling stories in your YouTube videos, and podcasts, and webinars, and a work presentation, and really useful, especially in a work setting. So, many of us think we need some crazy story about climbing Mount Everest or building some billion-dollar tech company to become a great storyteller. But the truth is a little more boring. It's actually a skill that you can learn. And today I'm going to walk you through a few powerful frameworks that some of the world's best storytellers use to influence, to lead, to persuade, and really to connect with people. Let's get into it. Now, before I dive in, I just want to explain what a framework is. Simply put, it's like a set of instructions and a way to look at a problem in a very simple way. And frameworks are pretty helpful in helping you figure out how to tackle a problem quickly, but they do have limitations because in some ways it is oversimplified. So I think the best way to use frameworks is actually just to have a bunch of frameworks in your toolkit, so you're not limited to using one or the other. And so you know which ones to use for a certain scenario. First one is the 3-act structure. All of you have heard of it, so I'm going to breeze through it. So stories can sometimes feel pretty disorganized, and the 3-act structure solves the problem of turning this chaos and creating something that has structure and has flow, so it's easy for the audience to follow. Beginning, middle, and end are the 3 components of the 3-act structure. But to be a bit more nuanced, it can be setup, confrontation, solution. And so if you are doing a sales presentation or just telling a story to your friends, typically having this 3-act structure in the back of your head will create some direction for you. And you can check out this Casey Neistat video. I think he explains it perfectly and simply. The second framework is called the Epiphany Bridge, and it was created by the founder of ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson. And I really like this one because it includes the personal anecdote and makes you much more relatable. So the way it goes is you tell your backstory. In that backstory, you kind of reveal your desire or your kind of old way of thinking, and then you go into the journey that takes you out of the old way of doing things. So in the journey, maybe there's a call to action, or there's a villain, or there's just a dream that starts with like what if. And then after that, you go into telling people about the new opportunity. Maybe it's your product, maybe it's your service, and you become the guide. And in this new opportunity, there's an epiphany. There's a moment of realization that there's a better way of doing things. And then after that, you go into the framework. It's like a framework that you created that can produce results, or it's a strategy that can help whoever you're speaking to. So you end this story by talking about the results and what you've been able to achieve. This is a really powerful framework for telling stories in your YouTube videos, and podcasts, and webinars, and a work presentation, and really useful, especially in a work setting, because you are providing a solution but in a very personal way. The third framework is probably something you've heard of, called the hero's journey. A lot of the times when we tell a story, we're just kind of throwing facts at people, and it just becomes really, really boring. And bringing in the hero, bringing in a character, is able to ground your audience into a human being. And because of that, there's this emotional connection with your story, because people like to connect with people. They don't connect with numbers, right? Typical structure of the hero's journey is a bit similar to what I just talked about, except it's a bit more of an adventure, and there's a bit more emphasis on the internal journey. It kind of goes like this. Hero lives in an ordinary world, and they get a call to action, and they receive a mentor, and then they meet a mentor that guides them further into this journey. And as they go deeper into this journey, they meet obstacles, they encounter enemies, and that's the part where Rocky meets the guy he's about to fight, and he's working out hard, he's struggling. Or in Lord of the Rings, when Frodo is kind of on the journey of finding the ring, and he's in the battle. He's battling orcas. It's like the lowest point of that character. And then finally, they achieve victory, and not just external victory, but an internal victory, and experience this internal transformation. They come out of this experience a totally different person with more wisdom and more power. So that's the typical arc of a hero's journey. And I actually find that a lot of designers or product managers use this when they are presenting the story of how a user uses their product. The next one is one of my favorite ones, called the Pixar Pitch. And I think founders, business leaders, creatives, they can all use this. Because some of the best storytellers in the world work at Pixar, and they've fine-tuned this structure after decades of producing some of the best movies we've ever seen. And what I like about this structure is that it leaves a lot of room for creativity. Some of these frameworks, they're pretty prescriptive in how you can tell your story. And to explain the structure to you, I'm gonna tell you my personal love story of how I met my wife. Okay, so it starts like this. When I was 7, I met this girl. And then every day we hung out and we were best friends. But one day, after we graduated college, I fell in love with her. And because of that, I found myself in the friend zone for years. And because of that, our friendship became kind of compromised, and we stopped being friends for a while. Until finally, I got out of the friend zone by respecting the boundaries she set with me. And so finally, we ended up together. You can use this structure when you're giving more of a presentation or pitch that you have time to prepare for, because I think it's better suited for longer stories. Hey guys, so I'm in Madrid right now, and I recorded that video at 11:30 p.m. because, well, I promised myself I would stick to the schedule of creating content. If you like that, I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe, because I'm really trying to put out some good content for you that'll be helpful, that'll be fun and entertaining. And if you liked it, I would appreciate that follow, because I like my sleep, but I sacrificed a bit of sleep just for you. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.